Hello everyone. My today's lecture is in continuation with the previous lecture, that is talking about or discussing about relationship between economic, social and public policy. In my previous lectures, I had discussed about social policy and public policy at length, and day before yesterday also I had discussed about public policy. So by now and large, you must have got an idea that what are social policies and how they influence public policy, or particularly how would you define public policy as well as social policy as and also economic policy. If you look into the interrelationships, if I want to talk about the connection, no, but if I look into the broader aim and broader objective, one particular, there are many objectives and aims of social policies, economic as well as public, but social policy is primarily aims to improving societal well-being and which addresses inequalities. It is a policy, these are guidelines, these are principles, course of action, where certain directions are taken, are initiated by the government. Social policies gives a sense of direction to the planners, for the implementation of any such welfare measures and schemes which would protect the larger population. Economic policies, primarily it focuses on managing economic growth, stability, equity. It talks about micro and macro economic policies. Particularly, it looks into the gross domestic product or national income, all the economic connotations which are there in terms of transaction, in terms of investment, expenditure. All these are being taken up by economic policies. In fact, yesterday we had discussed about the various economic policies starting from 1991, and with the advent of LPG, that was liberalization, privatization and globalization, and how it had impacted the society and what economic means. The entire discourse of economic policies since independence until date, what measures have been taken, what actions, what schemes had been taken up by the previous governments and by the current governments. Public policy, and for that matter, it encompasses again all government policies impacting various sectors. So, social policy is considered to be a subset of public policy. Their public policies are much more broader. It encompasses, in fact, health, education, social, any welfare schemes. It would come under the public policy part of it. So, the objective of this interrelationship, or to understand the relationship, is to evaluate how the policies influence each other. What is the dependency ratio? Are there any differences? Are there any similarities? What would be the discourse, and how it is affecting the implementation of economic, social or public would be affecting the society. Then secondly, to assess the overall effectiveness and coherence, to check out the balance, to see where they are coherent in, they are being implemented, or they are being drafted in a very coherent manner, how effectively it is going to affect the population, the people who are the beneficiaries of such policy programs and schemes or policies. It also, through this presentation, you also get to know or understand the various aspect of economic, social and public policies, and lastly to explore their interactional pattern and how it is, what would be the pros and cons of such policies in the society. If we talk about the definition or defining social economic, I just briefly want to explain that what are economic policies and what are social and what are public. So economic policies, they may be defined as the forming of social economic actions by the institutions bearing public responsibilities according to set objectives which are primarily economic in nature. Some economists, they have commonly defined, in fact, you could see the relation here itself, that sometimes social policies are they are intertwined, and it has been defined as social policy in relation to the public sector and the welfare state in relation to the externalities. So, and these externalities are defined as social costs which do not require any economic solutions or imply alterations in the economic system, but which required collective social policy. So the some says economics says the economic policies are of paramount importance, and they do not seek the support of any other policies. They are itself a complete document in terms of analyzing the economic system of a country. In fact, social policies are more closely, or they are largely dependent on economic policies. Social policies, for that matter, it can be understood to mean the measures of the institutions bearing public responsibility, which are designed to influence the living conditions, living situations of the socially weaker groups of people. That is the scope for satisfying the interest which determine the fulfillment of life, so as to accomplish the objectives pursued in regard to the living conditions by and in order of the society. Whereas public policy has been defined as a framework of laws, regulations and actions government tries to implement to achieve social and economic goals. It is it's statement of the government intent and commitment. So it particularly public policies particularly highlights the government's intentions and commitments, the intervention of the government, the role of the government, the state to address a particular issue or any such issues which would be of paramount importance or a problem. So this is more of where it concerns the larger public. So public policy, it shapes the decisions of the government officials and agencies, and it affects society, the economy, and as well as the politics. Now, if you talk about the close connection between economic and social policies, there exists a very close and a very binding connection between the two spheres of direct activity, that is social and economic, because both have a direct bearing to the direct bearing which would impact individuals' life, and they must be because the economic opportunities, they have a abiding influence on the living conditions of the people, and because economic policies affect the opportunities for economic action on the part of society as well as individuals. Closer analysis shows this connection to be one of the partial to be congruence for the social policy, which is aimed at improving the entirety of living conditions of socially weaker groups of people, is also directed at improving economic living conditions. So improvement of the economic living conditions, though not confined to, but include socially weak groups of people. So that is there is a relationship, because the economic conditions of the individuals or of a group or of a community, they will include, or rather they would also talk about the socially vulnerable and marginalized group. And however, also among the task of economy, it is also among the task of economic policies, that how it covers the such vulnerable and marginalized population, so that social as well as economic policies, they have a task to perform in the field of raising the economic living conditions. So in a way, economic conditions and social conditions of the individual or the group of the community are enhanced. Another connection between economic and social policy is reflected by the fact that the package of objectives, discussed in the context of the theory of economic policy, as well as the package of objectives of the economic policies practiced in many national economies, comprises, in addition, two objectives which belong primarily to economic, but are of relevance to social policy also, like growth, external economic activities, maintaining economic equilibrium and price stability, and other objectives which are primarily important under social policy aspects, but also relevant from the point of economic policies like social justice, social stability, and social peace. So the reason for this mixture of aims may be that the objectives of economics as well as social policies, they are drawn or derived from the superior sphere of policies which is concerned with all aspects of society, and that a strict dissociation of the aims in this latter field of policies from those of economic and social policy, restrict or rather it talks of a separation of economic objectives from social the separation of economic objectives from the social policy objectives it seems to be impossible. So it is impossible to separate certain economic policy prescriptions which would precisely aim at certain social policies agenda or objectives, and which would have a direct impact or it affects, in fact economic policy has effects or it would affect important aspect of social policies which are economic or social in nature. According to Marshall, social policies use political power to supersede, supplement, or modify operations of the economic system in order to achieve results which the economic system would not achieve on its own, and that in doing so it is guided by values other than those determined by open market forces. There is an also mutual understanding and relationship between the two policies, that is economic and social, and it is a common knowledge that a successful growth policy would provide a basis for a policy of social security, income distribution, and social investment, so that the social progress can be made in proportion to economic progress as measured by the growth rate of the social product and in production to the level of employment. So social progress should be made according to the means, according to the measures of economic progress. If there is a rising GDP, if the economy is strong, it is strengthened, then it can also ensure social progress. Also known is the significance of social policy, of a policy of price stabilization, owing to the avoidance of the negative repercussions on social justice of deterioration of the value of money, especially by socially discriminatory processes. So the advantages accruing to the owners of assets in kind compared with money owners, the disadvantages to the people on low income relative to those on higher incomes, and the lowering of the standard of living of the self-employed middle class. In the same way, growth, employment, and money and credit policies may, by affecting the rate of growth, the level of gainful employment, and the value of money, be of indirect importance for the living conditions of the socially weak, and for possibilities of improving them. The policy pursued in regard to competition may, through anti-monopoly, antitrust, and anti-amalgamation policies, have social policy effects. The social policy affects the distribution of the national income, which is improved by demonopolization to the benefit of the certain section of the population, both in short and long run. Then there are certain the policies, these policies relate to the structure of industrial conflict if arises with social policy, insofar as the latter is intended to favor a certain labor class or wage earners and social welfare recipients, because the policy of import restrictions, import restriction, taxation of competing commodities, and elimination or alleviation of competition for the benefit of a certain industries, like the agricultural policies, by means of import quotas and guaranteed prices and sales, tend to raise the price of products which are relatively heavy burden on the household budgets of the economically weaker sections of the populations. So this tend to have a strong bearing on each other. If you look into the economic and social policies, social policy is framed keeping in view of the belief, regions, attitudes, behavioral patterns, traditions, and interest of the society. So, the social policy are being made keeping all these particular societal values in mind when making policy, making when fabricating or when formulating a social policy, whereas economic policies is chalked out on the basis of the availability of economic means, economic resources, and proper income of wealth and proper distribution of income and wealth. Social policies, for that matter, give significance or it give importance to the change and improvement in social determinants of life, be it health, be it housing, be it education, infrastructure development, freedom, choices. Whereas economic policies, it emphasizes, or rather it emphasizes on the improvement of economic factors, namely macro as well as micro economic policies, which are of paramount importance. Social policy covers the field of education, health, rural and urban development, housing, welfare of the marginalized or the weaker sections, whereas the economic policies is concentrated with production, consumption, exchange, distribution of wealth and other resources in the society. This by no means, uh, gives an exhaustive enumeration of economic policies fields with very close social policy as association can be matched by a number of social policies activities having consequences which may be intended with the attainment of economic policies objectives or are complementary to them. By creating formal and substantial equality of opportunities in education, by removing privileges and all but qualitative restrictions on entry into professions and trades, by maintaining formal and substantial freedom of competition, the achievement of uh, social justice and with the social policies, with the achievement of social justice which social policies aims at achieving. The economic policy aims at ensuring economic growth through an increase in the proportion of qualified and highly qualified workers in the labor force. Also, the equal participation of laborers, in the organized sector, enhanced monetary fiscal policies and other trade, another trade relationship between various countries and within the state also. So the complex of social policy measures are designed to accomplish the aim of economic as well as social stability of living conditions, in the sense of avoiding any major fluctuations in incomes and employment in the economy as a whole and for the individuals in it. That is the social security system in the narrow sense, like unemployment or sickness, old age, insurance, has an analytical effect on economic activity and thus furthers the economic policy objectives of steady growth. So the effective protection of for working people, for instance, prohibition of child labor or safeguarding the younger people at work, protecting working mothers, limitations of working hours, regulations in terms of economic activity pursuits, health protection, has not only a quantitative effect on manpower, which would contribute to economic policies aim of preserving the resources of the economy, but it also maintains and improves by itself the physical, and especially in conjunction to education, in conjunction with education policy measures, the intellectual quality of the manpower, and which serves the economic policy objectives of raising productivity and achieving technical progress along with the social aspect of the society. Uh, the examination, when you talk about the mutual and relationship and the interrelationship between them, the examination of the interrelation of economic and social policy shows that the two spheres partly overlap and abut on each other. that social policies can immensely contribute to the achievement of economic policy aims and economic policy to the achievement of social policy. So, in a way, directly or indirectly, they try to subserve the aims and objectives of each other. So, the interdependence of economic and social policy appears, however, to depend in kind and intensity upon the stages of economic development reached. The dependence of social policy and economic policies mean that economic priorities predominate over social priorities in the policy making process, but economic criteria alone are inadequate basis for determining national priorities. Then we can also say that social policy is primarily concerned with the shape of form of services, the quality, coverage and effectiveness, while economics is concerned with their cost. Social priorities may be defined as an order based wholly or predominantly on the distributional outcome of policies, whereas economic priorities are based on the efficient use of resources. So, economic efficiency is just primarily in the terms of cost effectiveness. In the expanding economy with full employment, accident prevention, health protection and rehabilitation measures, for instance, are instruments of economic growth, but nevertheless quite apart from their own value under social policy aspects. In a less developed, underdeveloped, underemployed economy, with a high rate of population growth on the one hand, and the social policy objective of maintaining, improving and restoring the earning capacity is not is not in like manner an economic policy aim, especially if for the lack of labor protection regulations and sickness and accident insurance, that the burden falls on the persons directly involved and not on those who cause the social cost or third parties. So, under the assumptions made, the demand for labor can be met without social policy protection, and there exists no economic or economic policy motive to extend the worker. So, there is a typical, if I talk of similar considerations and similar, understanding or which apply to the interdependence of formal and substantial equity of opportunity on one hand and economic growth on the other hand. Whereas in advanced and expanding economy where production proceeds at a rising technical and organization level, a high quota of qualified personnel, which implies an opening of the educational system to more entrants, is a necessary for future development as a creation of the prerequisites for the adaptation of the employment structure to the changing structure of the economy through a provision of education, through provision of education, further retraining facilities, developing economies. It still give priority to safeguard a minimum subsistence level for wider sections of the populations, and the social products so small that resources cannot be released for just social investment. So there is a strong interdependence of economic and social policies, which talks about not only economic aspect but technological or technical progress as well as social progress, which is in direct proportion to the wealth which is already being possessed, or the wealth in direction to the wealth which is distributed. Is social policies, there are certain criticism to this, that is social policy a state imposed liability on economic policies? It is deeply ingrained is the scale of relative values in industrial societies, that it is assumed that economic values and relationships are natural. It has been said that economic transactions or economic systems, they had come out naturally, or they had always been a part of the society since the inception of society, while social values and institutions, they have to be imposed on them through interventionist policies. So it was found that economic policies, it was made evident that economic policies had always present there in the society, and the relationships, they have been borne out naturally, but However, the social values have come through the interventional approach. The government has initiated and deliberately thought in terms of social policy formulation and implementation. So, the first practical implication of this acceptance of the restriction of the scope and utility of social policy is that it occupies a weak position in relation to economics. So, social aspects of social, services or social welfare measures were given less weightage as compared to economic means of, economic system or economic transactions or production and ownership. Economic objectives had been always considered automatically to be legitimate, while social objectives must secure legitimacy in the policy system, and they are believed to ultimately rest on economic policy for their achievement. So it is trying to suggest that, or it is trying to bring out the point that social policies had become a kind of a burden on the economic policies, and they are being imposed on economic policies in order to look into the various societal aspects. They have their legitimacy, but in order to achieve social objectives and social goals, they need to have that legitimacy in terms of laws, legislations, or any welfare schemes or measures, and which rest on economic policy. So it is assumed implicitly that the former are derived from scientific rationality, while the latter involves the value judgments and as a result are contentious. So you could see that there is some critical critical analysis of that economic policies had always been a part and parcel of the society, but social policies are something which are those policies which had been deliberately designed to look after or to improve the socioeconomic conditions of the people. So in bold terms, or the bottom line is that the economic policies are considered to be far more important than social policy. The chief cause for concern is here is not the relative status between the two academic disciplines, whether it's economic or sociology or social aspect, but the fact that the scale of values has an important impact on public attitude towards the role and scope of welfare provision. It is argued by some economists that social welfare expenditure is unproductive and even counterproductive. It is parasitic on the commercial sector of the economy. In fact, the public burden model of welfare is supported by the crude division between economics and social policy and the presumption of supremacy of one over the other. This lens supports in turn to the equally crude separation between the productive and unproductive sectors of the economy, which restricts so severely the scope for social policy's contribution to development. The practical implication of this ascendancy of economic policy over social policy is that the development of social services had been constrained by the perceived interest of the economy. It has been assumed that within the confines of economic policies, social policies can operate in isolation and according to different principles to those which govern the operation of other institutions in society, like social administration rather than the economic or political administration. There is increasing realization that these social institutions, they form an integral part of the apparatus of capitalist society and do not exist in a political, social or economic vacuum. It has diverted attention from the fact that social issues such as poverty, unemployment, ill health and bad housing cannot be left simply for social policies to tackle, but it requires a combination of social and economic policies. So in other words, it is falsely believed that social policy can modify the free play of market forces and redistribute income through taxes, transfers and services, and as a consequence that there is no need to alter economic relations. This polarization of systems of distribution and the distortion of reality it entails has contributed to the tendency to view social policy as a sort of poor person's economic policy. As post-war experience in Britain and any industrial shows, if policy is concentrated purely on social intervention, it will not have much impact on the distribution of resources. And as Miller and Rain have argued, effective redistributive policies must seek directly to alter original income differentials and asset accumulation, as well as attempt to offset them. I'll stop here today, and I would continue the lecture on the relationship between social, economic and policy in my next class. Thank you, everyone.